Okay, welcome to the opening event from Among the Tree, a field trip. It's a special exhibition with Emmy Bergsma and Susanne von Bülow. And the third person is Sumana Roy. She cannot come because she lives in India and she works with poetry. And you will find in the exhibition some really interesting texts, poems. You have to visit Ahlen, the KunstVerein. Okay, welcome. You started your project with another title. It was not Among the Trees, a field trip. You started with Mapping Paradise. And what was the exact idea behind this really fantastic project, the mapping project from the paradise? Everybody wants to come and go to the paradise. And when I heard, oh, they make a project with paradise and trees, old trees, wow, how works it? How does it work? Mapping paradise and trees. Who will start from you?
Well, it all started with the idea that we were thinking about all these old and monumental trees in our world and the longing that people have to go to paradise.
Yeah.
And actually it's a place, well, does it exist or not, we don't know. But when we go to the biblical meaning of the word paradise, then you go to the Garden of Eden. Okay. And there are two important trees that existed in the Garden of Eden. The tree of knowledge, of good and bad, and the life tree. And we thought, when we see these old trees, everyone you talk about old trees, they feel something. There is something with these trees that is interesting, and they have maybe more wisdom than we have. They live longer than we live as humans. What if there is some DNA of these two important trees of this Garden of Eden inside the older trees in our region? Okay. That was the question we had. What if that is true? What if we can discover just a glimpse of paradise in these old trees?
Okay, so you visit these old trees.
Yeah. You
see them and you feel the spirit of the paradise also? Or it's only the idea of the DNA? It's more, it is a real idea, finding paradise at this old wood?
Well, we were just curious. Was it possible to find paradise or not? And by just observing the trees in every way we could imagine, with touching them, being with them, looking at them, talking with people, drawing them, because when you draw, then something happens also, something magical sometimes. So we were just curious. That's how it started.
Okay, it's really concrete.
Yeah.
And do you think, Susanne, if can this tree speak to you? Because you stand next to the tree and you try to contact them, give a tree an answer to you.
The thing is, I was definitely more skeptical than Emmy, I think, a little bit, because for me it was not the main topic at the beginning. And for me it was more like, can I come closer to the trees? And it's a kind of, I spent lots of time under the tree drawing and making films from while drawing. But I would say, well, it was really precious to have that time under the trees. It was really a long time, and drawing is a hard business. Not a hard business. It's like it takes time, and it's wonderful to have the time under the trees. So, but I'm always jumping between this idea that the trees can talk to me and that I can be closer to them, and that there's a wisdom in the trees. And then I'm getting skeptical, or I take more distance to it. And it depends also in the technique we both have, in a way, because Emmy is mainly drawing, and I'm also drawing, but I also printing. And the printing that works something different. It's different from it, because when I print with natural material, like you can see here in the Spargelwald.
What is the English word for spargel?
Huh?
What is the English word for spargel?
I do not know.
Asparagus. Asparagus.
Asparagus wood. Yeah. Asparagus wood. Spargel wood sounds better. So when I use natural material, while showing the nature, I destroy it a little bit. Not a little bit, totally. Because while printing, all the juice of life is going out of the plants, and so it's a kind of aggressive way to come closer in that point. So that's
sorry, I have to interrupt you, because if you work with the Spargelwald, you can eat this spargel. And it's not.
But that was not the idea. The Spargelwald was actually something which when we are now seeing those two works from Emmy behind me, and my Spargelwald next to Emmy. So that's a kind of way from the one to the other, because this was our the Oldenzaal platan was our main tree where we started. And it's impressive, and it's had so much personality, and it's such a strong and really interesting tree, with all his arms and laying on the ground. And then I thought, well, now we all have this idea about these monumental trees, which are very old, but in a way, that's what is really strong, or what brings us as a humankind further on, is the wood. And in the wood you have average trees. You never find a really huge tree in the wood. You have always small trees, and they have to live with the other trees, and they can't expand. And so I was searching for this kind of fable average trees, and that was my answer. In my way of working was the Spargelwald. So that's the two types of trees here behind us.
So maybe that's the best possibility for a good dialogue, that you have two different
approaches.
Yes,
yeah, that's true.
From two different ideas. Yeah. And when Susanne just talked about the Orientalis, it is so black. It's so unbelievable deep black. It's impossible to show it by video. You have to visit it here, because it is a black tone. I want to walk there, because it is magic. And you use coal. It is plant coal. It is wood coal in this. Or you don't know exactly, but is that how you work it with?
How I work with the coal, the charcoal. Yeah. Well, every tree that we visited, I collected the small branches on the ground. Yeah. I am not so aggressive as Susanne is. I don't kill a tree to work with it.
Kills,
yeah, that's kind of
not really.
I try to protect. I'm really careful, and it was all dead wood that I picked up. Yeah. And then at home I stripped the branches, and I chopped them in little pieces, put them in a can with sand, and then in the fire.
Okay.
And after a few hours, when you open it, you have really nice charcoal to draw with. That's how I started it. That's how I started the drawing. Because I wanted to come, that's the same thing. We want to come as close as we can to the tree. Yeah. So I tried to use the tree to draw the tree.
Okay.
So, and why it is so black, it's not only because of this charcoal, but also like I use also compressed charcoal. Okay. And that gives a blacker black. And
blacker black is great.
I love it when it's this black. And it is not black in the meaning of sad, or at least I don't feel about black that way. but I try to make it like a warm black, a black you want to stroke, or like it's velvet or something. That's my main goal.
It's fantastic, yeah. And if you work with the rest of the trees, you kill a tree in one work. And you kill the trees, they have no perspective. The small trees in the wood, somebody will, because there is a way, and they have to go. They have to go anyway. These trees. What do you feel if you print these trees?
What do you feel?
What do you feel then? Because you work with these trees, you think about trees and trees and trees, and suddenly you have a dead tree.
I mean,
kill a tree.
It was also a reflection on the way to work. And the thing is, when I'm printing the trees and killing the trees, then I have the kind of the ambivalent feeling that on a way I'm very exact. It's direct, it's real. I mean, it's a real tree, and it's the real fluid of the tree, and the roots are real. Everything is real, besides the color I add on it. But and while printing, I also find out so much about the tree, or about any plants, because the plants are kind of connected at some points, and if you print them, then they fall out at their weak points, the weak points and you can feel how much fluid is in the tree in the spring, and how less fluid is in the fall. So you get so much while killing it, and that's about the somehow kind of really two main concepts about research and destroying, and watching and following the nature. And so it's a kind of really, I didn't make my mind up which the strange thing is my digital drawings.
Yeah, graphical.
They are much less harm to nature than my traditional printing. So because there I'm just watching and sitting under the tree and doing nothing with the tree.
I think we can talk hours and hours and hours, and we will now find a really good finish. But we have one finish, and I want to present it directly because it's a book. It is Among the Trees, a field trip, and it is from three perspectives, like a poetry, and assigned like an aesthetical research project in a way. And you should read it, and you can buy it at KunstVerein Ahlen, and you can get it at Daedalus Verlag, because it's the first book you done together with an Indian, with Sumana Roy,
a writer.
A writer, and there are some possibilities to hear it, because we have QR codes in the book, and you will find directly a way to the poetry. Yeah, I think,
Yeah, we asked Sumana to record her voice. Because you can actually see her texts, but it is also nice that she is here in person also. And it is not just a book. With the QR code you can hear her and read the poems at the same time. And every text is also translated in German and in Dutch.
Yes.
And there are QR codes to the films of Susanne. So when you buy a book, you get the sound recordings and the film recordings for free.
Okay, so it's like in paradise. Okay, map your own paradise, buy this book. Bye-bye.